In the morning, as he was returning to the city, Jesus became hungry. And seeing a fig tree by the wayside, he went to it and found nothing on it but only leaves. And he said to it, "May no fruit ever come from you again." And the fig tree withered at once. Now when the disciples saw this, they marveled, saying, "How did the fig tree wither at once?" And Jesus answered them, "Truly I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what has been done to the fig tree, but even if you say to this mountain, 'Be taken up and thrown into the sea,' it will happen. Whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith." Now this incident with the fig tree is not Jesus throwing a little temper tantrum. What he's actually doing is giving foreshadowing, like vivid, visible foreshadowing to the disciples of the parables he's about to teach us tonight when we get to verse 28. So I ask you, what is the purpose of a fruit tree? Don't give me any stupid New Age environmentalist answer that, oh, the tree just has inherent value in itself. No. God created everything with a purpose. The purpose of fruit trees is to bear fruit. So what is the purpose of a Christian? Again, we don't need any New Age self-esteem psychobabble about us as simply having inherent value in ourselves. No. We're also created and further called for a purpose. Now our purpose is to serve and glorify Christ. And a Christian who does not bear fruit is as useless as a fruit tree that doesn't bear any fruit. Don't take my word for it. In Luke 13, Jesus gives another parable. It says, a man had a fig tree growing in his vineyard, and he went to look for fruit on it, but did not find any. So he said to the man who took care of the vineyard, "For 3 years now I've been coming to look for fruit on this fig tree and haven't found any. Cut it down. Why should it use up the soil?" Now this isn't the first time the Bible uses this whole analogy of bearing fruit. In Isaiah 5, we read, "Let me sing for my beloved, my song concerning his vineyard. My beloved had a vineyard on a very fertile hill. He dug it and cleared it of stones and planted it with choice vines. He built a watchtower in the middle of it and hewed out a wine vat in it. And he looked for it to yield grapes, but it yielded wild grapes. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem, the men of Judah, judge between me and my vineyard. What more was there to do for my vineyard that I have not done in it? When I looked for it to yield grapes, why did it yield wild grapes? And now I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will remove its hedge, and it shall be devoured, and it will break down its wall, and it shall be trampled down. I will make it a waste. It shall not be pruned or hoed, and briars and thorns shall grow up. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah are his pleasant planting. And he looked for justice, but behold, bloodshed. For righteousness, but behold, an outcry." See similar imagery in Jeremiah 8 as well. See what it's saying again and again and again in the Old Testament. And what Jesus is trying to explain to his disciples in his parables is that you are the loving work of his hands. He will plant a seed of faith in your heart. He will cultivate it. He will water it. He will prune it. He will do everything he can, go to great lengths to be sure that you bear fruit. But if you continue to refuse because either your soil is rocky or because you choke out your faith because the vines or the cares of this world choke it out, there will come a time when he turns you over to the kingdom of man, and you will become completely incapable of bearing fruit. And then on the last day, every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. So again, this is not Jesus throwing a fit. This is the actual pruning process at work. He is pruning his disciples by giving them a vivid, unforgettable illustration of what will happen to them if they fail to bear fruit. Now, this is where people get confused with this whole monergism, which is the correct biblical belief that salvation is of God alone, and the idea of synergism, which says we must do something to get saved. Now, the Reformed position is easy. It says that no matter how hard we farm, we can't force fruit to come out of the ground. We can't force a yield. God must provide the fruit. It's irrefutable. But as a part of his process, he gives us rules on how we are to sow and reap from the soil. Now, if we do what he says, he will bring forth the harvest. So it's all his plan, and it's all his blessing. Therefore, to him alone be the glory.